Hello, everybody. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show, where we watch old 16mm films and I just scanned some films this morning. I got some new ones for you. But before we get started, here's an oldie but a goodie that we just recently scanned. I think I got this on eBay, and it was like absurd Atlantic Imperial gas promotional film. And so this is a snippet. Like, I don't know what came before it. This is what's frustrating, is that sometimes eBay sellers snip out segments because they feel like, well, this segment I can market this and make a lot more money with it than this segment. I could market it a different way, make more money. That's very frustrating. I know that they do this with home movies. Some sellers will go find specific things with trains, and they'll put together a compilation reel of trains and sell that for an insane amount of money. But then we lose the context of where it was supposed to be. So I don't know, this has no title. I don't know who made it, but here it is. Atlantic Imperial Gas Promo. Enjoy.
Well, just thought you might like to see that. Now, of course, it has nothing whatsoever to do with a clean carburetor, but everybody needs a little lift at the beginning of a meeting. Thank you, Sherman. Gentlemen, tonight from New Hampshire to Florida, close to 10,000 dealers and their driveway salesmen are assembled to hear about our new Imperial campaign. And we extend a very hearty welcome to you new dealers, too. Let's hear it for the new dealers. Welcome aboard, gentlemen. Well, as I said, we've had a good year. A successful year for Atlantic. In fact, because of you dealers, our customers now have the cleanest carburetors in town.
Sir! Oh, sir!
Excuse me, just a minute.
I've just got to tell someone.
Madam, we've got... Is this yours?
This is my carburetor. It's a clean carburetor. A fine, true, good carburetor. It used to be dirty, but Atlantic Imperial has made it a beautiful, dependable part of the family car. And useful, too. Sir, my life has changed. I'm a changed woman. Baby's changed.
Regularly?
Of course. The grass is greener.
Oh, really now?
My carburetor's cleaner. Oh, sir, if I could just tell the world what Atlantic Imperial has done for me.
Well, I'll tell you, the world is...
Listen, world.
That's right, madam. That's all right. That's why we're here, madam. To tell the world. The whole world, and that's why we're here. The whole world will know it. Believe me, that is... That's enthusiasm. Well, gentlemen, our service to the public has been better than ever this year. Our position in the competition picture has improved. In many markets, we're a solid #1. And our profits, your profits, have been greater. We intend to make those profits even greater this year. Now, that's a wonderful word, profit. But profit depends on a great many things. Mainly people, satisfied customers. Now, do you remember last spring, these satisfied customers?
Go home. Everybody. We'll abolish all your nuts who won't use Atlantic Imperial.
Thank you. Thank you. My car really runs well now on Atlantic Imperial. Thank you. And the carburetor's clean, too. Thank you. It's a nice car. Good gasoline. Thank you.
That car really goes, doesn't it?
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, During the past year, through your efforts, millions of motorists discovered that Atlantic Imperial actually does clean carburetors, and by so doing gives better performance. Your customers told you, and we got it through thousands of unsolicited testimonials. And so by the end of 1960, we were convinced that, indeed, millions did know about Atlantic Imperial. Well, it was terrific. It was like an avalanche, gentlemen, a slow, steady beginning, a mounting crescendo, more and more, here and there, everywhere. Millions now know. And you know, believe it or not, even though there are millions who know, there are millions more who should know. And to prove this to you, we went to great expense to employ this highly specialized technique that has been made popular through television. We placed several hidden cameras in many of our marketing territories. Thus, unseen by the customer, our concealed cameramen were able to record some rather startling discoveries. Now, here's what we found when we developed our film.
Adam, are you sure your carburetor is clean?
I beg your pardon, young man. Don't get personal.
Our ace cameraman in one very strategic location went on to win an Academy Award.
Good morning. Should I fill with the Imperial today?
Hold it. I got the formula my own. Worked out pretty good for Betsy and me all these years. Now, give me $2.43 worth of Imperial. That cleans my carburetor. And $1.97 worth of regular. Well, that ain't quite half and half, but it's a good one anyway. And that, let me see, it leaves me, dime for a bottle of Dr. Pepper.
Complete secrecy and privacy was most necessary.
Shall I fill her up with the Atlantic Imperial?
Well,
No. She's driving. But I could use a refill.
The hidden eye, ever watchful.
Shall I fill her with the Imperial? It'll clean your carburetor.
Oh, man. Clean my carburetor? Listen, Daddy-o, like I'm on my way to the laundromat. Like you dig, man? Like I can clean my own carburetor, man. Ain't that wild, Daddy?
Well, as you can see, you've been telling your customers the clean carburetor story. But there are those customers you just can't reach. Now, let's figure this one out. The clean carburetor story has been described by some as, well, almost magic. Now, I wonder how a magician would figure this out. See, I remember a magician my old daddy told me about. I wonder what was his name now? Charlemagne Linga Shuni. Charlie for short. That's it. Charlie. 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 Hey, Charlie. Hi, buddy. Listen, you're going to be here for a few minutes. Let me put a dime in the parking meter. Listen, how are things in Strangeville, Charlie, old horse? Charlie, look, here's the problem. Can we be alone?
And then it just ends. That's frustrating. You know, I would love to know the entire film. And maybe if I put it out in the world, somebody will say, here's the entire film. But obviously that was made to be shown at some sort of convention of an Atlantic Imperial gas station owners or franchisees. I'm not sure. I don't know. So occasionally I ask ChatGTP to write a funny story about me and see what it comes up with. And so, and then I had to illustrate the story. So I'll read you the story, and here's the illustration. Skip once decided it would be no big deal to move a few dozen 16mm film reels from one storage unit to another. How did it? Wow, that's what I'm doing right now. He figured his little hatchback could handle it. I do have a little hatchback. It's, well, yeah. Anyways, by the time he was done loading, the poor car was sitting so low it looked like it was preparing for liftoff rather than a short drive through Raleigh. I don't know what that means. On the way, he hit a pothole, and the bump caused one of the film cans to pop open, sending a perfect strip of film fluttering out the window like a giant cinematic streamer. Skip, ever the archivist, pulled over immediately and chased the ribbon of celluloid down the street. Neighbors looked out their windows to see a man frantically running after what looked like a runaway paper streamer, except it was 400 feet of Communicable Diseases in the Classroom, 1962. When he finally wrangled it back into the can, he brushed himself off and said, well, at least no frames were lost. The car, however, never quite forgave him. So, ChatGTP knows I have a hatchback, and I confronted it, and I said, hey, how did you know that I had a hatchback? And, oops, what's going on? Basically, it said, good catch. I don't actually know what kind of car you drive. In the story I invented, I picked a little hatchback because it's a funny mental image. Small car plus giant mountains of film reels, instant slapstick. I totally made up the detail for comic effect, not something that I know about you personally. A friend of mine, so I posted this on Facebook, and a friend of mine made one where I'm in a bowling alley, and it talked about films being in milk crates. And so somebody is spying on me, because that is how I'm moving films right now, is in milk crates. So that's exciting story, awesome story, but also really scary. There's those little weird details about the hatchback and milk crates. Anyways, let's freshen our breath.
When you go for a fling on the flume, is he sitting far downstream? Get Certs, get closer. When you book a cozy little table for two, do you find something has come between you? Get Certs, get closer. Only Certs has flavor crystals and Retsin for great taste and fresh breath that lasts over an hour. When you want a smooch, does she call the pooch? Get Certs, get closer.
Retsin. I think a long time ago, because this came out like I think it's like in junior high age. It was in the 80s. I think I read that Retsin is just sugar. So it comes with Retsin, which is just sugar, which ultimately doesn't make your breath smell any better. Speaking of the 80s, this one, well, this is not from the 80s, but this is from the late 70s. It's yet another bicycle safety film. We have a lot of these, and it's really great. Because that's how I used to get around back in the day. So here's Bicycle Driving Tactics. Enjoy.
Steve's bike helps him earn money. Without it, he couldn't have this job. Biking is fun, too. Susan can go places on her bike where other vehicles can't go. Frank likes a bike because it's a nice, clean vehicle. No engine exhaust, no fumes. Riding a bike is good exercise. Louise knows that it uses a lot of different muscles, just as swimming and jogging do. Riding a bike is also a very serious responsibility. David was going about 10 miles an hour on the wrong side of the road. The car was doing a reasonable 25. When they collided, it was the same as if David were standing still and the car hit him at 35. We have to share the road with others, with other vehicles and with pedestrians too. In order to avoid accidents like this, there are safety rules that everybody has to follow. David broke the rules. Riding a bike and driving a car have a lot in common. So much so, in fact, that people are beginning to think in terms of driving a bicycle. We're going to talk about some of the reasons why. Traffic keeps to the right, including bicycles. Stay as close to the right edge of the pavement as you can and steer a straight line. Sometimes, of course, you have to swerve to avoid something in the road. Always take a quick glance in back so you won't swing out into the path of a car coming up from behind. And never swerve into empty parking spaces. When you swerve out again, you might find that passing cars haven't left enough room for you. Watch out for slippery places, especially on corners. Loose gravel, oil, or wet leaves can send you into a skid. Remember that on wet pavement, you need to allow extra braking distance so you can stop without skidding. Especially on narrow roads, check behind you from time to time. Be sure you aren't holding up traffic. No vehicle, bike or car, has the right to do that. When you enter a street from a driveway, always yield to approaching vehicles. They have the right of way. All vehicles, bikes and cars must observe traffic signs and signals. Let other drivers know what you plan to do. After all, your actions have bearing on what they're going to do. Signal all your actions before you start them. Pedestrians have the right of way. Bicycles must yield to people on foot. No pedestrian wants any moving vehicle this close. When you're driving your bike, you've got to watch out not only for moving cars, but for parked cars as well. Parked either parallel or diagonal. Some drivers are careless, and the careless ones are among the most dangerous people on the road. Incidents like these call for an emergency stop, and you must know how to make one. Let's watch Frank again. Using his inner brake handle, he applies front and rear brakes together. When he's stopped, he puts his feet on the ground, ready for whatever comes next. When you're going up a steep hill, you may want to weave or switch back to make the climbing easier. Don't do it. It's never safe to cut across traffic lanes. Get up speed as you start uphill go as far as you can without weaving, and then get off and push. After all that work coming up, a really fast ride down may sound like fun. Fun maybe, but dangerous fun. You'd be traveling at speeds faster than you're used to, and you might not see road hazards in time to avoid them. Also, car drivers don't expect you to be going that fast, and you could surprise both them and yourself. So Frank uses his brakes and coasts downhill at a sensible speed. If this car turns right at the corner ahead, Frank could find himself in a tight and dangerous spot. Whenever a car comes up alongside you and holds there, slow up, drop back, and let him go ahead. Keep back out of the way in case he makes a turn. Every car has blind spots of some kind, places where the driver's vision is blocked by parts of his own vehicle. In this demonstration, Louise couldn't see either of these bikes in her mirrors because they were hidden by the rear roof lines of the car. Never take it for granted that any driver can see you. In most communities, riding a bike on the sidewalk is against the law, and there's a very good reason why. Sidewalks are for people and pets. They have their place, vehicles have theirs. Left turns at a busy intersection can be tricky. It's best to act like a pedestrian. Get off your bike and wait for the walk signal. Look left, right, behind you, and ahead before starting across. Watch out for pedestrians. Wait again for the walk light, look all four ways, and walk your bike across once more. When you're bicycling in the country on gravel roads, there are special problems to face. You may come across a soft spot, and bikes are almost uncontrollable in sand or deep gravel. Roads are often narrow, and there may be ruts or potholes. Gravel usually collects in the center of the road at the bottom of hills. If the grader's been through recently, as it has here, the loose gravel is at the edges. Keep your eye on the road ahead of you all the time. Grass, weeds, or bushes beside the road may hide a ditch. Whenever you're riding your bike with others, travel single file. Keep 3 or 4 bike lengths between you and the bike ahead. That way, one guy's spill won't cause a mass tumble. Hitching a ride on a moving vehicle is one of the most dangerous things you can do when you're driving a bike. A sudden stop or turn can throw you out of control or knock you over. Never take it for granted that other vehicles will yield to you. Yield to them instead. Courtesy is one of the best accident preventers there is. But don't extend courtesy to the point where you endanger yourself. If somebody asks you for a ride, tell them how dangerous it is to let a passenger interfere with your driving and your view of the road ahead. There's really only one way to travel safely when you have one bike and 2 people. Walk. Well, maybe there is one other way. At night, making yourself seen on a bike can be a big problem. Don't neglect anything. Reflectorized clothes, a headlight, front and rear reflectors, and reflectors on the pedals and wheels. You should know enough about the mechanics of your bike to be able to do normal maintenance work on it. Because when you're driving your bike, your life depends upon how well it performs. When you leave your bike, even for only a minute or two, chain both wheels and frame to something stationary. Carry good identification with you. Put it on your bike, too. Then, if you were hurt in an accident and couldn't talk, the police would know whom to call. David's giving a perfect demonstration of why we should think in terms of driving a bike instead of just riding one. You can cause a lot of problems for yourself and everyone else by driving on the wrong side of the street. But of course, this is a busy street. And here, David's got the road all to himself. Riding a bike, driving a bike, is as serious a responsibility as driving a car. In both cases, the safety rules can be lifesavers. For everyone's safety, bike drivers must know and observe all the traffic rules. When the time comes, a good bike driver will graduate as a good car driver.
That was some pretty hip production music there. And it sounded very similar to that one. It's a similar kind of vibe, and you see it with movie snipes for coming attractions or our feature presentation. I can't remember the name of the piece, but here's something I learned. I was looking up like a name of a film that I showed, that amateur film with a kid that I showed some time ago about traveling, and I stumbled across a similar named song that was production music, and it was in Spotify. So I've actually added Spotify, all this production music from the 70s, and it's pretty great. Yeah. All right. What do we got? So there's this series that was made in Canada, and I want to say it was in the 60s, and I think it ran into the 80s, and it was live action initially, but then they made it animated. And I've only found one episode of it, except that today I found two more. And so this is called Tales from the Riverbank. It was distributed in schools in the United States, and it features live-action animals interacting. In the film that I had before, which was Let's Have a Party, it showed a rat typing on a typewriter. So I'm hoping that it will follow through with this next film in the series called Toad and the Turtle Race. Enjoy.
Out on a shopping trip, and now they were a boat full of goods. Oh, a cheese with a lovely thick tomatoes and cucumbers, and some luscious tree-back bacon. Yes, there was many a feast in prospect. Hammy and Roderick were happy and content, but their noses were twitching with the smell of the supper they hadn't cooked yet. Suddenly, Roderick saw something that held his attention. Oh, look, there's Mr. Turtle on the bank. Is that Toad with him? The two friends strained their eyes, but Hammy couldn't see much at that distance. It looks to me like a tuft of grass. But the hamster was wrong. It was the turtle and his rival, Mr. Toad.
Well, and I say that you're the slowest thing that ever blocked the river.
That's an insult, replied the turtle.
Insult or not, it's true, isn't it?
Well, it most certainly is not. I may not look fast, but I keep on going.
Sneered the Toad. He keeps on going when everybody else has gone to bed.
And so they argued, till they were both blue in the face. By the time Roderick and the hamster arrived, they were almost at blows. Morning, Mr. Turtle, called the rat. Anything? Oh, just Mr. Huff-Puff Toad throwing his weight around.
But I can run you into the ground any day. What do you say to that, Mr. Rat?
We all move in our different ways, but we all get there in the end.
One for you, Speedy. Nonsense. Roderick just doesn't want to hurt your feelings. Why, I could streak away from you like a flash of lightning. Eh, Hammy?
Hammy preferred to say nothing, which was much to the rat's approval.
Very well, Mr. Slowcoach. Race me around the woods tomorrow.
All right. I'll be laughing at the post as you stagger home.
Fine, you old Slowcoach. We'll see who laughs last.
And with that, he jumped away. Oh, my turtle ancestors, what have I got myself into now, moaned the turtle. That Toad provokes me, so I just have to answer back, and here am I in a race. I just can't win. Oh, dear, I shall be the laughing stock of the river. What am I to do? And it was Hammy who found the answer. And the answer was the wise old frog, who was found reflecting on the life and ways of the river folk. Good afternoon, my friends, said he, and Hammy whisked him off his path. Oh, easy, Hammy, easy, shouted Roderick, but there was no harm done. The animals were rather concerned as to whom should speak first, so it was left to the frog, who said, well, then, speak up. What's on your mind? Well, said Roderick, you know how it is when two animals start arguing about the wonderful things they can do. Well, that's our problem. At this point, the turtle took up the tale and told Mr. Frog how Toad kept saying he could lick the shell off him as a runner, and now he was in a race he couldn't win.
He begged Mr. Frog to help him. My, said the frog, you are in a mess, aren't you? Now, let's see. And the frog began to ponder. He brooded, and he brooded, and thought, and thought, and thought. And after that, he thought some more. Well, my father always said, he always said, when in a fix, use strategy. Then Mr. Frog outlined his plan.
Whoa, what is going on? Holy cow. I did not check the scan this morning. Let me see if I can scoot ahead a little bit. Wow. I'm gonna have to recapture this film. Bad splice. Oh my gosh, the entire rest of the film is bad. Ah, crap. So frustrating. So frustrating. Man. I'm sorry. I mean, so I literally did that this morning, and I was doing laundry and doing all this stuff, and so I didn't get a chance to QC that like I normally do. So let's learn about the vowel U, and hopefully we won't have a similar problem. Enjoy.
Which long or short vowel sounds we find in each of these words? They're the long and short sounds of the vowel letter U. U is one of the 5 vowel letters, A, E, I, O, U. And like the other vowels, it has a long sound and a short sound. The short sound is as in cub. Can you hear it? Say the word out loud. Cub. The long sound is U, as in cube. It's the same as its name. Cub, cube. Can you hear the short and the long sound? Cub, cube, U. Cub, cube, U. Let's look at some more pairs of words like this. There's mutt and mute. Do you hear the short sound and the long sound U in these words? Mutt, mute. Say the words out loud. Mutt, mute, U. And there's us with the short sound and use with the long sound U. The first word of each pair, cub, mutt, and us, has the short sound Can you hear it? Cub, mutt, us. The second word of each pair, cube, mute, use, has the long sound of U. Cube, mute, use. In what other way is the second word of each pair the same? Each word has a final E. Do you think this is what gives you the long sound? Yes. In each word, it's the final E that gives you the long sound. So if you see a word with the vowel U, and it's followed only by a consonant, then U has the short sound as in cub. But if U is followed by a consonant and a final E, then U has the long sound U as in cube. But U is different from some other vowels because there are two different ways to pronounce the long sound. With this word, you can say either tube or tube. Do you hear the difference? Tube, tube. Some people say duke, and some say duke. Now let's see if you can read some words with the long or short sound of U. On the calendar, you'll find the month of June. On the pond, you'll find a duck. Did you remember the short sound of U, duck? At breakfast, you might eat a prune. Ooh, the long sound. To go to school, you might take a bus. The short sound. These people are using a shoot with ooh, the long sound. With some words, you have to be careful. This means a chute that you might find in an amusement park. But there's another word that sounds just the same. Shoot, meaning to shoot a gun, is spelled with two O's together. It also has the long sound of U. Shoot. Do you think a double O in a word always gives us the long U sound? Pool is spelled with a double O. Can you hear the long U sound, ooh? Say it out loud. Pool. Moon has a double O. Does it have the long U sound, ooh? Moon. Tool is spelled with a double O. Can you hear the long U sound, ooh? Tool. And there's droop, and groom, and loop, and spool. Book is spelled with a double O. But does it have the long U sound? No. Say it out loud. Book. Book. Look. Cook. Some words spelled with a double O do not have the long U sound. So we have to remember these words and not be fooled by them. Because most words spelled with a double O, like zoom, hoop, proof, and booth, have the long U sound, ooh. Now let's talk about the long sound of U at the end of a word. Did you ever see an animal chew? Say it out loud. Chew. It has the long U sound. But this is the way to spell the long U sound in chew. C-H-E-W. Chew has the long sound of U, even though there is no letter U in the word. Few, new, and grew are also spelled with E-W at the end. There are other words in which the long U sound is spelled with a U-E at the end, like Sue, Q, and glue. And still others. Words like zoo and two are spelled with a double O at the end. So there are really 3 different ways to spell the long sound of U at the end of a word. E-W, as in new, U-E, as in glue, and double O, as in two. Now we're going to try to read some words. Say the word out loud and see if you can tell whether it has the long or the short sound. Plume. Ooh, plume. Cut. Cut. Glue. Ooh, glue. Mule. You, mule. Bud. Bud. Bloom. Ooh, bloom. Dew. You, dew. School. Ooh, school. Zoo. Ooh, zoo. Now let's try to remember what we found out about the long and short sounds of U. We learned that the short sound of U is as in cub, bud, us, and that when the vowel U is followed only by a consonant, it usually has the short sound. We also discovered that a final E on a word gives U the long sound U. With a final E, the word cub becomes cube, and the word us becomes use. We learned that a double O in most words gives us the long sound of U, droop. And we learned that there are 3 ways to spell the long sound of U at the end of a word, such as EW, as in chew, UE, as in dew, or double O, as in zoo. Do you think you could find some long and short sounds of U at the zoo?
I have the whole series. I have all the Vowels. Journal films. Yeah, Journal, I think, was a Gilbert Altschul. I can't pronounce his last name, but he used to do stuff for Coronet, and then he started his own company, Journal Films, and they made a lot of stuff in the 70s and 80s. Anyways, yeah, I apologize for the turtle and toad race. As you can see behind me, I am scanning it, and I looked at the reel because I had rewound it, and I saw there was a big tape splice, and that sometimes teachers would repair a film that broke by just putting masking tape over it, and so that might have been a big enough thing to bump it out of the film gate. And the film gate is loose. I tried to figure out if I could show you a close-up of it. I think I'm going to have to get a separate webcam that I can kind of show you close-ups of things in the film scanning process. So it's a loose gate, which is what you want, right? You want to be able to have some flexibility with films that are warped or curled. But I think that sometimes if you have a crazy splice, it will pop out. And so I have to be watching it and making sure that's not the case. What are some other things? I'm going to be traveling tomorrow, so I'm going to pre-record a show. And so I will show the missing part of the race so we can figure out how the turtle beat the toad with the help of the frog. Hopefully technology is involved in some way. And also, so Old Radios, who is one of the commenters on our site, really found the Amy, who was in what we showed not yesterday but day before, Amy the photographer, found her on IMDb and found her Instagram page, and it is indeed her, because it has a picture of her on her Instagram page with her father, who shows up in the film that we showed. And it turns out she's a producer. She is a Hollywood producer, and she worked on a film called What Happened, Miss Simone, which is about Nina Simone. And I actually scanned some films, not from my collection, but from the state archives, that were featured in that film. So there's this weird connection. Like, I didn't have an interaction with her specifically, but now I feel like, now that I have her Instagram page, I'll make this film, Amy the Photographer, live, and I'll share it with her and say, like, hey, like, we found this. This is you. It's so exciting. Sometimes that goes really well. Sometimes it doesn't. So we'll see. But it's a small world. It's crazy. And these films, they document so much of our culture, and they document in places and ways that television media didn't necessarily do, Hollywood films didn't necessarily do. These filmmakers, and in this case, this was Canadian filmmakers, somehow found Amy and her father, and they did this piece. And they did that with teenagers around the world. So it's kind of cool to see that there is these backstories, these actual backstories, and to find out where people are and all that. So thank you for joining us along the way. And thank you for helping me gather up the films that are rolling through the streets of Raleigh. It's funny, that street metaphor is something I used for a fundraiser a long time ago. It was the idea in my head that if I took all the films and like laid them out end to end, like how many miles would that be? And I feel like it was like thousands of miles of film. And so I did this campaign, fundraiser campaign, where for every $1 that was raised, I would digitize a mile of, maybe that's not right. I can't remember how much. It was something coordinating to a mile or something. But I don't think it was $1. I think it was more than that. Maybe it was $100 a mile. But yeah, I raised a bunch of money during that campaign. We got to digitize a bunch of our stuff, and this is before I knew how to live stream and the technology existed for live streaming for the average person. And what I would do is I would scan the film or digitize it and then put it up on YouTube and put it up on Facebook, and so people got to see the stuff that I digitized that day based on the money that I raised that day, and that was very exciting. So maybe at some point we'll do a marathon like that again, where we'll raise money and scan things while you wait and while you give us money. Let's see, speaking of money, thanks for donating. You can do that with the Super Thanks button. You can also go to ko-fi.com/avgeeks or patreon.com/avgeeks. You can watch other films that we've posted on our YouTube channel, because that revenue sprinkles pennies on our heads. But it adds up, and because a lot of people have been watching our stuff, we've actually can cover about half of what our storage costs are for the films that are in 7 different storage units. And my goal is, because the rent on one of the storage units just went up like $80 a month, my goal is to empty that out sooner than later, so I don't have to pay so much, because the price of that is actually the cost of 2 other storage units at another space. So yeah, I got to clear that one out. But just you guys watching and commenting, that makes me very happy, so thank you so much. And tomorrow I won't be live, but you will figure out, together we will watch and figure out how I need to check to make sure that it's not off. We'll figure out how the turtle won the race. But in the meantime, thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you somewhere, somehow, soon. Take care.